bring in Scott Bauer, the CEO of Prosper Trading Academy, to help us out with that crude look and some of the move that we've seen. As I just mentioned, Scott, welcome off the lows today, briefly down below the $39 level. I actually wrote the script here. I'm looking at it right now. In the script, it said briefly below the $40 level, so that just kind of gives you an idea how things have been moving this afternoon. Even after draws this week, Scott, it really speaks to how the focus is more on economic recovery efforts, and recent data suggesting it might be slowing some. Is that what's weighing on crude today, you think?
It really is, because normally we would have seen those draws, and that would have been, some tailwinds for crude. So yeah, the economic data is you can't sugarcoat it. It's not good. And I think that really is what's weighing on it, Ben. And, we've talked about this for a while, that the crude patch really has more headwinds coming into it than it does tailwinds. And it, for the reports that came out about the drawdowns, that's what's really, really surprising, what we're seeing here with crude really taking it on the chin today.
Yeah, we were just looking at the API here. You can see the EIA coming in down over 10.5 million. Scott, let's talk about the impact this is having on some of these individual companies directly tied to the price of crude. Now, we're seeing some kind of mixed activity in many ways.
Yes.
We've got a few names that are reporting quarterly results that you've got your eye on. Let's talk Apache. You've got your eye on ConocoPhillips and Valero as well, all reporting quarterly results yesterday and today, but the results were somewhat mixed in terms of these individual names.
Complete mixed bag and complete mixed reaction as well. Apache, you see this breakout technically above the 50-day moving average. Now there is some, serious resistance up above around 18 or so at the 200-day moving average. But, Apache is one that seems to have benefited from this. At least the street, the market likes it. Then you look to Conoco, and this is the one that I can't really get a grasp on yet. I understand the down move today. Okay, the second quarter, it was, certainly one of the most brutal periods ever in the oil market history. And the stock is down, precipitously. I mean, it's down quite a bit. However, when you break down the financials on Conoco, on COP here, they have a very, very rich balance sheet. They have a lot of cash on hand. So they're very cash rich. To me, that portends very well for them, because moving forward here, we don't know what the restarting of production is going to be like in the coming weeks, months, or even, going into 2021. They're one of the ones that can, buy some time, if you will. So is this sell-off warranted? Probably this morning, just based on the results here. But I think that Conoco really offers, a possible nice entry point just below the market here.
What about Valero, Scott? That's the last one I want to take a look at. Ticker symbol VLO.
Yeah, they beat on earnings per share, but their revenues are way down. This is one that does not excite me whatsoever, both from a fundamental or a technical standpoint.
All right, let's take a quick look at all three of these side by side. And, well, a little bit of a mixed bag, as Scott was just talking about. You got Apache, which is breaking out to the upside. You got Valero, which is coming off COP. ConocoPhillips, which is coming off. We've got Apache up 17.75% here, Scott. COP down, Valero down. I mentioned how at the top of the show we've got Chevron, we've got Exxon, which are weighing on the indices here today. Scott, let's move on because it's 5 o'clock somewhere. We've got TAP, ticker symbol TAP. We've got BUD, Anheuser-Busch, and talk to us about what we're seeing in terms of some of the beverage makers. They're getting a lift today after reporting second quarter results, it looks like.
Yeah, I think what the street is looking at here in both of these, Ben, is that the results weren't as bad maybe as expected, because the results are not pretty. We did see some beats, but sales volumes are down pretty big. And both companies have come out and talked about the uncertainty moving forward. Yet they're both up a little bit. Now, full disclosure, I was bearish in TAP. I had a put spread on that. I'm taking a little heat for that today, but that's still out there. But, I look at these, though, and I don't know that I get it, other than maybe the street is saying, it wasn't as bad as what maybe could have been.
Scott, a little bit of a different situation here in terms of when you look at them structurally. I've got them here side by side. We've got Molson Coors, again, TAP, ticker symbol TAP on the left, and they've been seeing a series of lower highs. They've been kind of channeling lower off that 48 level down to 33, but losing some of the momentum. But then you've got, again, you can see Bud, which is kind of trying to get up above that 60 level. I'd imagine investors want to see it back up above there. If they do, they're talking levels we haven't seen since February. Again, these are a couple stocks, there are a couple good names to keep an eye on. Does this encourage you any in terms of you lean in the direction more towards Bud in terms of the technicals here as well?
No doubt about it. And you made a great point with TAP, those lower lows, lower highs here. And, I think this rally today, if it continues, great. I don't see it. But yeah, I would absolutely lean on the side of Bud, and that's not because I like Bud products necessarily better than Molson products.
Scott, talk to me in terms of now that we've got the Fed behind us, we've got some of the GDP data behind us, we've got, again, some of the numbers that we were looking at here. Does the next focal point really shift and become the jobs data next week? We obviously have some consumer numbers tomorrow, personal income and spending data, so we'll look at that. But what do you have your eye on in terms of the next few days as we embark in the month of August here and close out July in terms of economic data?
So two things in terms of the market. The tech earnings that we get after the close today really could be the driver over the next couple of days into early next week. But next week, it is all focused on that jobs number on Friday. I have repeated this with you so many times already. I think it's going to be an awful, awful number. And I'm very concerned, that the market leading up to it is going to, maybe start seeing that. And I would be very cautious of the market next week ahead of that jobs number.
Well, Scott, in many ways, one could argue we've already seen that over the last couple of weeks. We've seen a bit of cautiousness recently in terms of price activity, momentum to the upside, at the very least slowing some. Really appreciate you joining us here, Scott. A great breakdown in terms of a few names, a look at the energy markets, what's been playing out here in crude recently, some of the interesting price activity related to inventories there. Scott Bauer, thanks again. Traders, you can check him out. Scott Bauer is the CEO of Prosper Trading Academy.